2016 campaign for the Minnesota House, when she has said little then or since about Ahmed Mirasad Ali, the former husband who swept into her life in 2009 before a 2011 separation. So I want to pause here and say these sources I'm going to be using, most of them are certified by NewsGuard, a third-party rating agency, and I have to have many disagreements with them. But I use them as a check on my own bias and as sort of a check on anybody who criticizes my sources. Don't take my word for it. I use a third party. So this site is vetted. Now, there is more information that is suspect. And this is brought up by David Steinberg of PJ Media. Now, PJ Media is challenged by NewsGuard, but not for publishing false information, for being an opinion source. So there is some consideration here, but according to David Steinberg, he has evidence to suggest Karen Omar may have actually lied, I believe, on their own. What is this about her contact with LP, who is accused of being her brother? It's a very, very complicated story, trust me. But let's work through this. Star Tribune writes, the question surfaced again this month in a statement over campaign finance violations showing that Omar filed taxes in 2014 and 15 with her current husband while she was still legally married to what's LP. Although she has legally corrected the discrepancy, she has declined to say anything about how or why it happened. The new documents also detail the Omar campaign's efforts to keep the story of her marriage family out of the press, arguing that detailed coverage would legitimize the accusations and invade her privacy. Since recent findings of the Campaign Finance Board had discovered Omar had improperly used campaign money to pay a lawyer to fix her tax filings, the Star Tribune searched public records, including available databases, the marriage and divorce filing, business licenses, university records, and other documents, and could find little publicly available information about Almi. The search of records could neither conclusively confirm nor rebut the allegation that he is Omar's sibling. But there are questions that need to be answered. I'll add it. Sent a list of questions about a request to talk to her siblings and father. Omar declined to do so. First, he did not reply to multiple calls, texts, and emails. Social media posts indicate Almi is in Africa. He did not respond to multiple emails. Now, there is a point of contention here as David Steinberg of PJ Media believes, he says he can prove Almi is actually in Nairobi and is very likely working with Omar's sister, which is also suspect considering she said she didn't have contact with him. That doesn't necessarily prove she did, but it does show that they're still very closely tied. And also, public records apparently show that Almi used Omar's address at a time that had already been separated, and she claimed she hadn't spoken with him. So let's read on to the details. Omar's reticence is consistent with near total silence he has maintained for 3 years amid questions raised through public records picked over by conservative opinion journalists intent on proving that she committed immigration fraud. Those attacks she once tweeted are the provenance of fake journalists on bigoted blogs. You can't say the same thing about the Star Tribune, and that's why the story is starting to get critical, I would say. It's now being recognized by not just opinion bloggers, but conservative mainstream press has brought it up, and now left-leaning mainstream press is highlight issue. There's a very real possibility she did this. Omar's spokesman Jeremy Slender issued a statement Friday asserting that the questions about her personal life are illegitimate. In his statement, I'm not going to read it because he goes on to try and push it towards Trump and Trump's face instead of actually answering the question, so I'm going to ignore that because I find it to be manipulative and silly. I will add the party says that she has shared more than most public officials about the details of her personal life, even when this personally painful. He then goes on to accuse anybody who questions this as a right-wing, bigoted, anti-Muslim left, which is unfair and manipulative, so I'll ignore. Star Tribune writes, the questions have nevertheless persisted as a political threat over the years, while the former war refugee from Somalia made history being elected to the Minnesota House and then winning a seat in Congress. Well, let's move on. Actually, you don't know here. The Star Tribune made this point, but it's actually a rather long article. The critics have highlighted key points that they have questions about that they want answered. I'm going to move now to a very quick point. Star Tribune is certified across the board by NewsGuard. It's very important in terms of whether or not you want to question why I'm doing the story, question the Star Tribune source. Take it up with NewsGuard, okay? They've given a green check mark to every category for neighborhood agency. That is the best we can possibly get. Now, David Star Tribune ran a dishonest, cowardly piece of journalism today. For 3 years, the paper ignored the work of reporters Priya Sensigar, Scott Johnson, and myself on Elon Omar's disturbing past, ignored our emails offering new evidence. Now, Elon Omar is a national disgrace globally, and his headlines are emboldened. We warned them. None of this would have happened if Star Tribune, afraid of a PC mob, had not withheld the facts from local voters. Covering their tracks tonight, Star Tribune published a piece depicting work we already did, our leads, our research. Did they credit us? No. We are just unnamed conservative activists. We're activists, we're reporters. They are frauds. They owe us, Minnesota voters, and the global Jewish community, an apology. I will add, though, I do not believe the piece of journalism Star Tribune done is cowardly. I believe it's a net positive for the story. While David may be upset he's not getting credit and they're leaving out certain points of evidence he thinks should be included, the fact that he has now jumped on the story means more mainstream credibility to questioning whether or not Gilmore are actually married her brother, so he could move to the U.S. much more quickly. He says, additionally, their article failed to confirm or even mention far more of our work despite us being able to confirm all that we published. Please read our work, not theirs. He says, the Star Tribune also inexplicably failed to put two facts together on a bombshell development mentioned in their article. Star Tribune appears to have been deliberately vague and can only surmise that the paper is still covering for Omar. They write, social media posts indicate Ahmed Mirsad LB is in Africa. They also write that Elon's sister, Sakra Noor, currently runs her own healthcare consultancy in Kenya. But Albi's posts and Noor's company are clear about a specific location. Albi's posts show that he has lived in Nairobi, Kenya, since between 12/21/18 and 1/14/19. And Noor's company is clearly located in Nairobi, not just somewhere in Kenya. Further, it's provable Albi has been working for Noor, apparently helping out with her company website. I can confirm that this is not confirmed. Now, David says it is provable. That's actually not true, and I'll tell you why. But there is something interesting here nonetheless. He says, look for yourself. Visit Grid Partners Consulting/PR and view the page's source code. You will see that LB was logged into his personal Instagram account while he was creating the link to Noor's company Instagram account. Well, I actually did look into this. David Steinberg posts this source for the website, where we can see that in this highlighted portion, the username is Ahmed El-Need, and Ahmed and El-Need, and then the user's profile URL is Grid Partners International. That doesn't confirm that he is working with it, but it is interesting. Now, I have pulled up the site and can independently confirm this does exist on this About section for Sakra Noor, the Grid Partners Consultant who we are, and we can see that the Instagram name was in fact, let me see, I'm sorry, I have the wrong header. We can see up here that the Instagram username is Ahmed El-Need, and that the profile URL is Grid Partners International. It doesn't necessarily prove they're working together. However, it does provide evidence to suggest the Grid Partners Instagram account once ran with the display name of Ahmed El-Need, suggesting they work together. It doesn't prove it, but I think it's pretty strong evidence that is likely the case. David takes it a little step further by saying it's provable, and I want to put that out there. It's evidence. That's about it. It's not necessarily provable. David says there is no reasonable explanation for this post to exist besides LB working for Noor. It could be that LB at one point transferred the Instagram account. There's a million reasons to offer up why he may have offered the Instagram account to Omar's sister. We don't know. I think Occam's razor would suggest that they're working in some capacity, especially if David says he has evidence that LB is in Nairobi as well. I'd imagine they're in contact. He says, and that's a bombshell. In 2017, Gilmore swore the penalty of perjury while divorcing LB that she had zero contact with him since 2011 and no clue how to find him. Just 1 year later, LB having just been divorced, LB served leaves London to work for his ex-wife's sister in Nairobi. It's absurd that the Star Tribune chose not to even report LB and Noor were both living in Nairobi. If that could be proven, and the issue is Star Tribune says they can't confirm the validity of the screenshots. Old social media posts that show LB and may have been deleted. Why would Elon Omar claim under penalty of perjury that she couldn't get in touch with him? Because because she needed to divorce him without him being able to sign the papers. And if he was in Nairobi, it'd be much easier for her just to claim she can't get in touch with him. If it's true that she could, well, then that potentially is perjury. Now, I don't want to assume her motives. I don't know why or why she would or would do this. I'm just Razor would suggest she just couldn't get in touch with him, but there is a lot of interesting information here, and I will stress that the Instagram thing is kind of strange, and the timeline for everything is actually strange, which I'm going to point out a lot of discrepancies moving around. Again, this will be a long one. I'm sorry, it is a complicated story, but I believe it's important. Steinberg says, as for what's next, Star Tribune is wasting its time seeking Omar's immigration documents. Documents reveal irregularities, such as two sisters born only 2 months apart, but will not provide proof of a fraudulent marriage. I will confirm here that I've identified other documentation that, according to sources and additional evidence, will confirm the fraudulent marriage. An attorney is currently assisting me in attempting to obtain them legally. Or so, I expect to buy documents and be publishing them, or will be publishing the information I obtained that led me to seek them. I believe the supporting evidence already places the case beyond a reasonable doubt, and looking forward to asking your remarkable comment. Now, this is PJ Media. David works for PJ Media. This is their rating on NewsGuard. Take it all with a grain of salt. I disagree with NewsGuard in many capacities, but I use NewsGuard specifically as a shield for critics who would accuse me of not using bad sources. I am showing you this not to tell you should or shouldn't believe David, but to show you the rating. NewsGuard says they do not repeatedly publish false content, but alleges that they gather and present information irresponsibly, they don't correct errors, and they don't handle the difference between news and opinion responsibly. Now, saying they do these strikes for not disclosing ownership and labeling advertising, I take less of an issue with that. We're trying to figure out if what this man is saying is true. I believe that based on a statement about proving Almy is working with Omar's sister, it's actually not true, but NewsGuard believes they're not consistently publishing false content, so I would err on the side of David is probably closer to, it's much more likely this information is accurate within a certain range, so I can respect that. Now, I'm going to do this. This is a blog called Front Page Mad, which is rated very, very negatively. They're basically across the board considered to be fake news by NewsGuard. But there is one reason I'm going to use this page, because this is an overt critic of Omar, and they pulled snippets from Star Tribune specifically to ask specific questions. These paragraphs that were pulled from Star Tribune, they actually exist. So the veracity of I should say, the credibility of the paper is less relevant when they're directly quoting and asking questions about quotes. So again, take that into consideration while I'm using the source. In this article, they say that Yonabar could easily clear within 5 minutes that she did not marry her brother. But they ask an interesting question that I want to highlight, specifically that they shared an address. So here it says, Omar and Almy used a Columbia Heights address on the marriage application. 3 months later, Percy used the same address to obtain a business license for his one-on-one cafe lounge, public records show. Omar declined to offer an account of their living arrangements at the time. Either all three were living together, or some of these filings are off. It would be really strange if Omar divorced someone, had her new husband move in with her, while her ex-husband lived with her, and then, at some point, her new husband divorces in their faith tradition and leaves. The timing is all very, very strange, but I will say, if these filings are they could potentially be off, or it could also mean that Hersey filed a fraudulent address to obtain a business license, unless they lived together. So if the filings are off, I would assume it was intentionally misleading. There's a few other questions they bring up. Omar's relatives could also clear the air, but they have remained silent about her marriage to Almy. She declined to make her family available for the story. They also talk about how she declined to make her tax and immigration records available. Well, I can understand immigration records. I'm curious as to why she won't release her tax records, because people have been calling Trump did the same thing. Back at the Star Tribune, it may be they've omitted information that other people feel to be true, but we're going to operate on this premise. The story highlights that there are many conservative blogs that have made accusations Star Tribune can't corroborate. I can respect that. While David may believe he can prove certain things, that's fine and he does. Star Tribune is a different source with different editorial standards. If they can't independently verify information, I wouldn't expect them to publish it. But I will stress, the Star Tribune begins the story is to benefit easy for people to discredit the story by claiming it's just conservatives and bigots and all of those things, like Omar's spokesperson said. Another thing to say, the Star Tribune is doing the same thing. Now, interestingly, the Star Tribune highlights the emails that show Elon Omar put together a crisis management team to try and stop the story, even expressing, but that's true of basically anything. Can't prove a negative, so I don't know what to tell you. Rep. Mohammed Noor, TFL Minneapolis, lost to Omar in the primary before embracing her at the legislature when she went to Congress. He compared the attacks on Omar to claims that Barack Obama was not born in the U.S. Because he took over Omar's state legislative office phone number. Noor's voicemail was getting filled with hateful messages until Google removed the number when people conducted Google searches for Omar. In the end, Noor said, Omar. But I want to highlight something that I find interesting. The only reason I would ever entertain the story is because we are seeing kind of I don't know, the dam's broken. With the Star Tribune coming out, it's becoming less of a partisan issue and more of a corruption issue. In the timeline from Star Tribune, they say, in 2008, Omar and Mercy, now the parents of two children, reached an impasse in our life together, quote, and divorce in their faith tradition. Apparently they were never legally married. But a year later, Omar legally marries Ahmed Mirsad Ali, whom she identifies only as a British citizen. School records show he attended high school in St. Paul and studied art at North Dakota State University. In 2011, Omar and Ali end their relationship and divorce in their faith tradition, but not legally until 2017. A year later, she reconciles and has a third child with Mercy. Here's what's interesting. The year after she divorces Mercy, she marries Ali. And the year after she divorces Ali, in her faith tradition, not legally, she gets back together with Mercy. But according to the Star Tribune, there's an overlap in when they lived together. So let me just, I want to make sure I absolutely verify right here, where they say, Omar and Ali used a Columbia Heights address on the marriage application. 3 months later, Mercy used the same address to obtain a business license for his one-on-one campaign lounge on the records show. This paints a very interesting picture, which I would say is like circumstantial evidence. I would say it's proof. I would say it's interesting and could provide a motive, or not a motive, but a timeline for that. It sounds like, assuming that she did marry LP to get him into the country faster, that what happened was while she was married to Mercy with children, she, in her faith tradition, divorced, and they were never legally married in the first place. But then she married LP to get in the country, and as soon as he was set to leave because he left around this time, she reconciled and had a third child with Mercy. It sounds like this time shows that she never really left Mercy. She wasn't legally married to him in the first place. She had kids with him. It sounds like she married this man while still actually with Mercy. And then when Elsie left, they didn't do anything. She never legally divorced him. From the timeline to me, it sounds like she was married to Mercy the whole time. It's possible that it's just conjecture. That they use the same address. Somebody found a false address, or they lived together, which is very strange for an ex-husband and wife to do. And, for whatever reason. I will say this, however. It doesn't matter if Elsie is her brother. That's a good point. It's interesting, and I think it's used to severely discredit her. But think about the lighter possibility that Elmi is just a family friend, and she married him so he can come to the U.S. Period. Stokes asked, why would she marry the brother when she could file on his behalf as a sibling to come to the country? Star Tribune brings up the point that's because spouses move here quickly. But why not the simpler question that she committed immigration fraud and she married someone so he moved to the country? Plain and simple. She never legally married her son, and she stayed legally married to Elmi even after the end of their relationship. It's all highly suspect. I'll leave it there. Nothing is definitive. Nothing. What we know is Hila Omar committed a campaign finance violation, and she had to pay a fine. She filed her taxes incorrectly, and that's why she was fined. I believe she was fined for that and for using campaign funds to hire a lawyer to fix the problem. Her marriage is murky and suspect. But the story about her marrying her brother came from a single post on a forum, and it might not be true. It may be much simpler than that. She married somebody so he could move to the U.S. End of story. She was in a relationship with Percy. She has three kids with Percy. I understand it. She has no kid with LE. And there's no reason to believe that LE is her brother, other than it makes her look bad. In documents she's provided to journalists, we don't see anyone named Ahmed LE among her siblings. So why push that conspiracy theory at all? Why not just say, okay, maybe she legally married this guy so he could move to the US, like many people do all the time. And she never legally married Percy because she didn't need to. Although apparently she filed tax filings with him. It's an interesting problem. I think, if anything, that's what she did. It was simple immigration fraud, marry someone to the money. But it's my personal opinion. All we know now, she married a guy. She came to the U.S., he left the U.S., and she committed some campaign finance violations and misfiled the taxes. That's where we're at. But I will add, with the final point, and we're in the main point, with the star tribute jumping on this story, it's making the story much more bigger, much more plausible, and as they say, a man, possibly her own brother. We are now moving into the realm where mainstream journalists are starting to challenge the narrative, and we're moving out of the realm of conspiracy theory. When the story first emerged, it was considered hateful and bigoted, but now mainstream papers are saying, hey, maybe this is true. But I'll end by saying, regardless of the possibility, I think it's somewhat irresponsible. A lot of things are possible, and she really can't prove the negative. So take it all with a grain of salt. But I think if we're seeing this mainstream coverage, it's worth talking about at least this far. But I remain a skeptic, plain and simple. Let me know what you think in the comments below to keep the conversation going. You can follow me on mine at TimCast. I'll have more videos coming up, youtube.com/TimCast, starting at 6 p.m. But also the podcast, you want to start different. But thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all next time.
Maybe it's crazy, but he understands that he looks like Italian crazy right now. Joe Biden, he looks like he's just exhausted. I don't know what happened to him, but he's exhausted, and he doesn't do any work. Now, could it be Ford says that Sanders, Biden, Warren, Buttigieg, right now, we can the Buttigieg, they also have been using Texas to put them on this. They're not using Texas to anything.
It's so much fun to read an experience. Another week, another wonderful learning experience. First, the campaign kicked off in Orlando, that's Florida, where we learned what we happen to trust the media like but the media email, like a long note to Melania, it's never future. I know that feeling. We also learned some history. What does anyone have a higher percentage than your favorite president, Donald Trump?
One person has a higher percentage than your favorite president, Donald Trump. You know who that president is? He's got a higher percentage than me, and it's devastating. His name is George Washington. George is at 100%, and there's no way I'm going to get there no matter what I tell you.
Oh, man. And what about the wall? Is it moving along?
The wall is moving along. It's moving along rapidly. It's beautiful. A change in design. It's stronger, bigger, the better, and cheaper. Now, sometimes when they don't give you the money, you have to make it cheaper. It's true.
What do we have to pay?
You pay for the very distinct privilege of not having to pay, but you had to pay a lot. Now you don't have to pay anymore.
I have no idea what that meant.
But I ask, do you need a magic wand? You need a magic wand to bring back your magic wand. We'll tell Sleepy Joe that we found the magic wand.
You know, a lot of brilliant, talented campaign people.
You have a lot of brilliant, talented campaign people. They must support you, but they never give me any ideas. I'm only
You know, It makes you wonder what country you're in. MAGA country, we're in MAGA country, that I can tell you. That I can tell you. Now, as you know, MAGA is no longer the motto. It's now Keep American Great for MAG, which sounds like a Finnish death metal group. And it is a departure. See, the first motto, MAGA, said, hey, it's time for a change. The new one says, let's preserve what we've changed. I can't wait to see the slogan for his third term. Anyway, but as we that's impossible, people. It's impossible. But as we close this first political tailgate, the Orlando Sentinel, a paper, pulled the first two, an anti-endorsement of Trump, even before the Dems have a nominee. Meaning they hate Trump so much, the Dems can nominate a desiccated zombie raccoon, and they go with a desiccated zombie raccoon. But enough about Bernie Sanders. I still think it's a little infantile. Much like CNN, who after being insulted at the rally, actually shut their coverage down, proving how emotional they really are. I'm surprised they didn't shout, I hate all of you, then run upstairs and slam their door and fling themselves on the bench and sobbing into a blood pillow. But at least they provided coverage for some people stuff. Is she right in defining concentration camps? Yes, but do they have a feeling of use stating what happened with the Nazis and the genocide of the Jews? Yes. Oh, so as one side celebrates a country, the other floats in an impervious, idiotic bubble, insulting Holocaust victims, and then justifying with some lame semantics. Again, the contrast is Trump. And it is the Times critics. Now I'm bad at predicting things, but I know this. The side that's having the most fun usually wins. On the Republican side, it's fun. On the Democrats, it's fun. A deep, dark, smelly bottom of the laundry is fun. You know, where the socks and already got skin? Every day stating out the gloomiest vision for a country. So thank heavens Trump will be live tweeting the debate. How often is that? People won't be watching the debates. They'll be watching him watching the debates. The Democrats should be thrilled over this. Fact is, if there's one person who can make Amy Klobuchar or Gary Swallow, it's Trump and it's Tea Machine. It's special if absolutely. You know there's the guy who makes you feel safe, but you forget it just in 2 minutes. But a real chill to the collection like no other. I won't talk about Jeffrey. I will not say. I will not say it's low energy. I will not say it. I will not say it. For the first time ever, all the unforgettable Trump hits are together in one must-have collection. Star Newport Entertainment and Brightline present the best of Trump. Build the wall! Who's gonna pay for the wall?
pull my white blood pressure for all that.
That's right, Tom. And with water, 47,000 hours of access will be transported back all the way to the power source. Glucose.
I think you see that scene on CNN. And if you did it well, you're ready. Let me ask you
If you wanted this much fun, you have to watch the news 24/7 and ignore your family completely.
Don't I know it, Cat? My son still won't talk to me. But now I can get the greatest Trump moments all in one place. Whenever I want, I can see classics like Get Him Out of Here. Get out of here, Bruce! Get out! Go home to mommy! I was gonna laugh at that. That was really funny. You know, it seems like every clip in this show has a great story. You will find you know what that is.
You won't find this collection on Peanut Island.
You're telling me. You remember where's Nick? Nick? Where are you, Nick? Stand up. Get up here, Nick. So order Trump hits today. Call anytime within the next 4 years and you'll receive a limited edition lock of the president's hair in a tight glass bottle for no additional charge. Trump hits. Make that for one. Former U.S. Marine Bomb Technician Staff Sergeant Joey Jones. Airport Trump, sexy with the comment. His comedy special, I'm at the house now, streaming everywhere to Jersey. Wait, her glasses are fake, but they're part of his stick. Oh, it's here again, if I think you get it. He's a shoplifter. He can actually lift an entire shop. My massive sidekick and host of Nutset on Fox Nation Tyrants. So, Joey, what do you think of the campaign kickoff? Well, I love the video, by the way. He has a second little cat jumping, and that's bigger than that's what you're okay, stop. Listen.
Yeah, we were
Everything else is on board. Cool with it. I'm a bit of a big bony over here. Listen, if I ever read arguing with Holocaust survivors over the definition of concentration camps, if I ever reach that level of my political career, I'm going to put a pin in it. That level of stupidity doesn't have any place in that spot. It leads me to believe the conspiracy theory that somehow been right by the Democratic Party. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think about arguing with this? Stop there? Yes. Okay. Jim, what do you think of the so far? I thought he was great. I mean, he got a lot of criticism because he was playing the first hour. Yeah. But, he has every right to complain. He's taking on us. Democrats won't work with us. The Mueller report was hanging over his head. The media's against us. The media's almost like a nagging right. They just look at him. They look at any little bit, Think about it, yeah. Oh, yeah. Bookie critics. Back in your future.